About Therapy?
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 45 here on What About Therapy. I'm Enoch and Austin, and I'm a certified mindfulness life coach.
I'm Austin Ivy, and I'm certified in the basics of acceptance and commitment therapy, and we're both going to school to be marriage and family therapists. And today on the podcast, we are going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be breaking down the song Mulberry Street by 21 Pilots to see how it relates to therapy realm and mental health. So let's get right into it. Okay, well, episode 45.
Woo-hoo!
We're going to start something a little bit different today, but before we do that, we're going to apologize on our hands and knees, but not really because you wouldn't be able to hear us. We're going to apologize about how our episode releases have been somewhat inconsistent recently. And it mainly has to do with the fact that we're both super busy with school and that's really it is school.
It's the block classes, man.
Yeah.
Like it's killing me.
And for me it's I'm taking my advanced English class, advanced math, and an advanced psychology class. And on Monday, I'm starting a block class. I don't know why I did that, but I did. But it's only one credit. But it's required for the major. But anywho, that's why it's been inconsistent. That's why we lied to you last week about a What About episode this week. But
it wasn't on purpose, I swear.
It was not anticipated. It's tough. And that's just the life of students. So any of you students out there can probably relate.
For those of you who don't know what a block class is, it's a full semester class in half the amount of time. So it's a lot.
It's condensed. Usually you have 14 weeks or 15 weeks to do something
like that. Yeah, so
condensed into maybe 7 or 8.
4 months of work condensed into 2.
Yep. So you can see why that would be hard.
Yeah, we're both taking several of those, so
it's tough.
It's intense.
It's really intense.
But life goes on, and we keep putting out content.
We're
working on it.
Basically falling asleep while we're talking. Just kidding. No, I will probably fall asleep easy tonight because I stayed up late last night watching Stranger Things.
Hey,
so my wife had never seen it before, and she wanted to watch season 4. So we stayed up till 11:30 last night, binging the first season. We were gonna stay up until midnight because that's when the new Obi-Wan Kenobi episode came out. We were gonna stay up and then just watch it and then go to bed. Decided not to. We watched it after work today. It was amazing, but anyways, the reason we're talking so much pop culture stuff is because we decided to bring on a new idea or a new topic or
just a new way of doing some things about viewing therapy and the way it works for you, because I know that a lot of you, if not most of you, if not all of you, aren't going to school to be therapists. And you may take some psychology classes here and there. You may really like therapy and psychology and learning about it, which is great, but sometimes it's not very applicable. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I listen to therapy podcasts, I'm like, okay, well, that's great to know, but how can I apply that to me?
Yeah, you hear the clinical stuff, the definitions or maybe the therapist's perspective or experiences, and it can be hard to apply. And so the idea here is that we're going to take pop culture ideas, movies, shows, songs, and geopolitical news, historical events,
things that are happening now, and applying it to your life through a therapy lens, so you can see how therapy actually integrates into your life and how it can actually benefit you with even the smallest things, like listening to a song.
Exactly, yeah. So the idea here is to find mental health topics or mental health struggles or good and bad, or mental health advice, good and bad, in pop culture. And this is to say that that's all we're going to be doing from now on. We're still going to have our What About series where it's more condensed and academically charged to inform the general public on not random, but specific ideas in mental health. And we're still going to have more structured episodes about specific topics. But the idea behind this is that we want to make it more applicable, like Enoch was saying, more, real world, because not everything is just textbooks and Russ Harris books about acceptance and commitment therapy.
Although I wouldn't mind a world like that.
Yeah, exactly. I think the world would be better off if that was the case. So we're trying to find ways to enjoy it more ourselves, but also you as listeners find things that are out in the world that are every day that can relate perfectly to therapy topics and mental health, topics or ideas.
Yeah.
Or what's the word? Theories. How about that?
Yeah, because Austin and I, we can talk about therapy all day, and it's not just about theories and textbooks. It's about, oh, did you see this in the news? Like, that's interesting. How about, what do you think about acceptance and commitment therapy with this? Like, how we can apply that. And so hopefully we can just kind of put you inside of our brains, inside of our conversations, and just see how it actually applies to everything, really. If you think about it, if you try hard enough, you can apply it to basically everything.
I do believe that. And that's what we're going to be doing from now on a little bit. Just periodically throughout the month or throughout the months as we release episodes. So hopefully you all enjoy it, because I know we will. And we had a lot of fun preparing for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, so we hope you enjoy it.
Yeah. So what we're going to be doing, and what we're going to be doing in future episodes like this, or I guess in general what we're going to be doing, is choosing pop culture, like movies, shows, music, and just breaking it down. And if it's a good thing, we're going to show how it relates well to therapy and how you can implement it into your life. And there's some things in the future where we might break it down and show how this TV show or this song gives really bad mental health explanations or mental health advice, or gives a good example of how not to treat mental health.
Right.
But for today specifically, like you heard in the intro, we're going to be breaking down the song Mulberry Street by 21 Pilots' newest album, Scaled and Icy. I myself am a huge 21 Pilots fan. I have been since I was a junior in high school. So I follow them pretty closely, and this is my favorite song from their newest album. And it relates really well to mental health, and you're going to see why. We're going to break it down. We're going to link some ideas of acceptance and commitment therapy, experiential avoidance, mindfulness, all the good stuff you usually hear, but from the perspective of a pretty popular band that is a really good, like 21 Pilots. One of the reasons I love them so much, especially now going to school to be a mental health practitioner, they're so focused on destigmatizing mental health. And you go to any of their albums, you're going to find at least half of their songs on that album linked directly to mental health struggles. So you probably see a lot of us breaking down those songs because they're really easy to break down from a mental health perspective. But that's what we're going to be doing today. Again, it's going to be Mulberry Street by 21 Pilots. And we're going to be, I guess, getting snippets. We're going to be listening to snippets as we go. And we're going to pause, talk over the lyrics, and connect it to mental health theories, ideas, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
and maybe we'll sing it for you.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, get it. Keep your bliss. There's nothing wrong with this.
Keep your bliss. There's nothing wrong with this. Yeah. Keep your bliss. There's nothing wrong with this.
Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and hopefully you enjoyed our singing too. But let's break it down a little bit. Let's break down that clip. There's not much to break down with 1, 2, 3, get it.
That's very deep. Okay. So maybe you go to therapy 3 times.
And then you get it.
Then you'll get it.
And then you go, Anyways, after that, we get into some more applicable lyrics.
Yeah.
And this is where I kind of wanted to start things off. And it's really going to set the tone for the rest of the song. It says, keep your bliss. There's nothing wrong with this. And so when I first heard the song, and this album came out last year in May, I think it was May 21st of last year. It came out, I listened to it in my bathroom with my wife as she was, I think, brushing her teeth. We listened to it. And I remember hearing these lyrics and really connecting with it, because I've always felt this way, that there's nothing wrong with feeling sad, and there's nothing wrong with not being happy. And I think this is Tyler Joseph is the lead singer. He's the one that wrote these lyrics. What I think he was getting at, and for his own personal mental health struggles, is that like he's saying to the voice inside of his head, keep your bliss, keep the idea that you can keep that idea, you can keep it to yourself, because I personally don't feel like there's anything wrong with being sad. There's nothing wrong with being in an in-between where you're not sad or happy, where you're just experiencing life and all the emotions that come with it, the acceptance part of acceptance and commitment therapy, where there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with the idea of just living how things are and not seeking after happiness all the time. And that's kind of the theme of what this song is going to be about. And it starts off right there in the first, 4 lines?
Yeah. And far too often, I think people, like when someone's feeling bad, we try to jump in and fix it. right? Especially as people, as students going into therapy, our instant thought is to, oh, how can we fix this?
Sure, you could ask our wives on that, and they can tell you plain, because at least for my wife, I know she feels that way. But yeah,
Right, but I mean that's I think that's a natural inclination, right, to want to help people and to try and fix it. But we need to realize that when we are feeling bad, there's nothing wrong with that, right? And as we've talked about in previous episodes, it only becomes a problem when it's persistent over a longer period of time. If it's not going away, then okay, like we can start getting help for that.
or if it's causing problems in your life, and
Right.
it's maybe disconnecting relationships, if it's causing you serious distress or it's putting you in danger, things like that. Yeah, get some help. But like
Right.
Nick is saying, there's nothing truly wrong with bad feelings.
Yeah, if you just wake up one morning and you feel bad, that's okay. Keep your bliss. There's nothing wrong with this, as in there's nothing wrong with feeling bad or feeling anything outside of bliss.
Exactly. Like, tell that voice in your head that's telling you that you need to be happy or that you need to do things to seek after happiness. You can say to it, you can keep that idea. Like, thanks, brain. We talked about that exercise of telling your brain, thank you. I think that in my interpretation, that's what the lead singer is saying here. He's saying thank you to his brain. You can keep that idea that you need to be happy because there's nothing wrong with the way that I'm feeling right now. I'm sad. I'm grieving. I'm depressed. I'm a little anxious, but that's okay. And there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Kind of destigmatizing, de-pathologizing, I guess.
Yeah.
The idea that there's something wrong with feeling bad. There's something wrong with being stressed or anxious. And
Right.
that's what, right off the bat when I heard the song, that's what I connected to.
Yeah,
It's a really powerful idea.
it is. Okay, let's keep on moving.
Keep your sunny days, leave us in the rain. Tie strings to our hands and feet to rain on your parade.
So I guess kind of the same thing with that as the previous line.
Yeah.
Keep your sunny days, leave us in the rain. And I really liked that. And then it goes on to say, tie strings to our hands and feet to rain on your parade. And I think getting into the kind of going back to the self-talk with your own mind and the dictator, we've called it before, or the I think I don't know what else we've called it, but the part of your brain that is trying to just
Critic.
control the critic, the
Yeah.
critic, the dictator, the part of your brain that tells you the things that you should be doing or that you think you should be doing. You can say to it some positive self-talk, keep your sunny days, leave us in the rain. There's nothing wrong with experience a little gloom, just getting wet. Not everything is sunny days. Not everything is happiness, because life and I guess living a full life is the acceptance of all the emotions and experiences that life has to offer, even the bad ones.
Yeah.
And I think that's what those lyrics kind of encapsulate.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's listen to the next snippet now.
You can have the weekends, we will live between them. Keep your pills, save your breath, and don't ever forget. Get out of our way, we're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet.
Okay. Zuko just came walking in and growled at my face.
He's mad.
But anyway, I think this is very powerful. Okay, and I think a lot of people live this way, where he said, you can have the weekends, we will live between them. Far too often, Austin and I were talking about this, and we do it ourselves as well. We tend to just live for the weekend. Like you hear a lot of people say, hey Jim, how's it going? It's Wednesday. One more day closer to Friday.
It's hump day.
Hump day. Getting over the weekday. Like, that's, in my definition of living, that's not living. That's called enduring. You're just enduring for the weekend to live, in quotation marks, for, 2.5 days? Half of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then grudgingly go back to life again. Like, that's just not the way to effectively approach life. And so I love the line where he says, you can have the weekends. Like, we will focus on what's in between them, which is the weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
And we can have a good time on a Tuesday morning when you have 4 more days till the weekend. It doesn't have to be the weekend to have a good time and to actually live.
I think it just stands as a good reminder that the full life experience that is out there can be found at any given time, as long as you're living within your values.
Right.
And so often I myself neglect my values completely during the week because I'm tired and I'm just looking forward to the weekend. Like, I want to look to the things that make me happy, the bliss that we were talking about earlier. All I want are the things that bring me bliss. And those aren't necessarily bad things, but that's all I'm focusing on. And if that's all you're focusing on during the weekdays is what you're going to do on the weekend, and then you're really neglecting all of this time and all of this opportunity to live a meaningful, value-based life during the week.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes mindfulness and it takes a little bit of discipline to do that. But I love how the song kind of addresses that we have this culture, especially in the United States, that is so hyper obsessed with the weekend. Like, we live for the weekend. And I think there's songs that's the name of the song, Living for the Weekend.
There's even a guy, his rapper name or his artist name is The Weeknd.
I know, right? Like, we're so obsessed with the weekend, and rightfully so. People work hard and they want to break, but
yeah, nothing wrong with it.
There's still life to be lived during the week, and I'm so glad I figured that out at 23, because I've lived all my life up to this point just being obsessed with the weekend, and now I realized there is a life to be lived on a Tuesday afternoon,
Yeah.
And I really connected with that too, listening to it for the first time, and I think it stays true to the idea that like, life lived in its fullest is accepting all emotions, both the negative and positive, which means accepting a Tuesday afternoon for what it is.
Yeah.
And so you can have the weekends, we will live between them. And it's kind of, again, that's talking to that voice in your head that says you just need the weekend and you'll be happy.
Right.
As soon as Friday hits, you'll be a happy person. But then as soon as Sunday hits, you're going to be a depressed, anxious mess because you have to go to work the next day.
Yeah, you can go ahead and go to the bar, get slammed. And that brings us to the next line where he says, keep your pills, save your breath, and don't ever forget. Now talk about what you mentioned earlier, how they got a lot of flack for this line.
Yeah, so from like lyric breakdowns that I've watched of this song, some people were kind of like, they were hesitant to agree with this part of the song because there's people out there that they do rely on medication to stay stable, like people with bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, or clinical depression, things like that. They do need medication to find stability in their life. And I don't think that's what they're talking about here. They're not talking about just keeping your pills and not taking them because life is still out there. You can be happy without your pills. I think what they're addressing here, and they do address it in other songs in this album, that you don't need substances of any kind to be happy, or not to be happy, but to experience a good life. Like, you can do that. You can have a good, fulfilling life without relying and like self-medicating, like relying on substances and self-medicating, because I really don't think that's what they were going for. They weren't saying don't take your mood stabilizer as a bipolar person. What they were saying here, in my opinion, is that you can say to the voice in your head, I don't need alcohol to be happy. I don't need my SSRIs to feel calm. And even if I do need them to feel calm, there's nothing wrong with being anxious. And I think that just comes back to the main theme of the song. There's nothing wrong with negative emotions. Mm-hmm. That's what I think that they're getting at with that.
Yeah.
So I guess going on from there, get out of our way. We're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street. Yeah. There's a few things to break down there. I like the phrase "we're moving sideways" because in other songs by 21 Pilots, they talk about like polar opposites and poles of emotions. And I think often in our culture, I know I feel this way, that a lot of people get into the idea or the false notion that life is only lived on two poles. You're either sad or you're happy. You're either successful or unsuccessful. You're either, like these absolutes, these two poles. And what's being said here is that here on Mulberry Street, which I can get to in a second if I guess we want to, that moving sideways is not you're not happy, you're not sad, you're not on some polar side of the spectrum. You're just in between. You're just experiencing life. And that's where a rich, full experience is being comfortable with just being in between, just living a life.
Yeah. So I think far too often we tend to go for what's called socially compliant goals. I'm sure we've talked about that before on here before.
A lot, yeah.
That's where you are going after goals, or you set goals that are socially compliant or compliant with society, as in things that society says you should do. Society shoulds all over you. Like,
Yeah.
you should be the breadwinner as a husband. You should be a caretaker as a mother. Or like in Utah, you should be a stay-at-home mom type of thing.
You should be making more money. You should
Right.
have gotten that promotion. You should be skinnier. You should be. You should have darker skin. Like you should be tanner or something like that. Like
Yeah.
you should have whiter teeth. All these different things that we get shit on every single day on like social media, TV. It's
Yeah.
all over the place.
And so these pave the way, like a straight direction that we need to go, that we should go. And I love the line that we're going sideways as well. We're moving sideways because he's saying we're not going in the way that society really tells us we should go. We're just going to go sideways, and there's nothing wrong with that. We can kind of do our own thing. We can feel this way, go sideways. We're still moving in a direction. It's just not in the way that society says we should go.
Yeah, we're moving forward, but it's just a little bit different in a way that we're still moving. It's just in a different way. It's sideways. It's in between. It's not up or down. It's sideways.
Just moving.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's not socially compliant, like Enoch was just saying. And they kind of talk about how that's possible. In the next lyrics, it says, "So move out of our way. We're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet." And I think that last lyric shows how that's possible. Keep sidewalk under your feet. The way I interpret that as stay grounded, stay present. Use your mindfulness skills that hopefully you learned here or maybe from a therapist, or you could look up guided meditation or mindfulness skills on YouTube, and you're going to find endless amounts of resources of grounding skills. We've talked about being anchored or staying grounded in the acceptance and commitment therapy, like Russ Harris model of getting grounded. And the way to move sideways, the way to live in between the two poles, the way to be okay with negative emotions is by staying grounded, by keeping the sidewalk under your feet. And always just by being present, I guess, is what I was getting at with that.
Yeah. I love it. Let's keep on going.
Let's do it.
Sunny skies till you finally realize that everybody relies on synthetic highs. They find someone to prescribe. Keep your bliss, there's nothing wrong with this. We just want to feel it all.
Okay, well, let's break down that one now. I love this one a lot. There's another deep message to be found in this, I guess, in that snippet, in this verse. So let's break it down. Ain't no sunny skies till you finally realize that everybody relies on synthetic highs. First of all, magical wordplay. Tyler Joseph.
He's not even a rapper.
He's not even a rapper. He's just a lyrical genius. Really does make good music, so I highly recommend you listening to more of their music. But I love that message. And what it's saying is that you don't really find sunny skies in your life until you realize that the most people that appear to be genuine, or that appear to be not genuinely happy, but appear to just be ecstatically happy or blissful or just have it all together, they're relying on some type of synthetic high to make them feel that way, whether that be some type of self-medication through drugs or alcohol, or I don't know, like other addictive behaviors like shopping or gambling, or like eating like food or whatever it is, like some type of behavior that is a quote unquote synthetic high, which causes them to feel blissful or happy. And when you finally realize that, it kind of sets you free to see that true, like positive emotions in your life don't come from like these outside forces. It comes from within yourself.
Right.
Because no matter how, like what's happening within your life, like you could have all the money in the world or be drinking all the alcohol in the world, no matter what's going on externally, true positive emotion can only come within yourself. And that's when you finally realize there's sunny skies to be had, when you realize those sunny skies are not found within like quote unquote synthetic highs, which isn't just drugs and alcohol. It can be any type of behavior that brings some type of like short-lived dopamine bump. I don't know. But
yeah. Like when I hear this line, I think of instantly go to social media.
Yeah.
Like you see people, of course, the problem with social media, as we know, is people only usually post when they're feeling good or when they're going through an exciting time. And so all you see is the good times.
The synthetic highs.
Yeah. All you see are the good times, and you think, oh my gosh, like they're always so happy. But 21 Pilots do a great job by saying, look, in all their pictures, there may be a sunny sky, but it's not real.
It's synthetic.
It's synthetic.
It's the definition of synthetic.
It's the Truman Show.
Yeah, exactly.
They're living in a fake world, at least so it looks.
Mm-hmm.
They're in this world where they're always happy and always in a great relationship with their spouse or their boyfriend and girlfriend. They never fight, none of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But when you realize that they're all just on synthetic highs, it kind of brings everyone down back onto, a level playing field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay,
we're all struggling. Everyone's the same.
struggling.
We all have problems.
Yeah, and it's okay. And yeah, it's great.
It's such a good song. And it goes on to talk more about, we've heard these lyrics before, but keep your bliss. There's nothing wrong with this. This the line that I love a lot. We just want to feel it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we is anyone listening, and they're really connected to their fan base. And I think we stands for their fan base, and because they're really connected to them, like I said. But we is anyone listening to the song, really. That
you right now.
You should, maybe not should, because we're not shitting on you, but like we said before, the true life experience is the acceptance of all emotions, both positive and negative. We just want to feel it all. And so, again, there's nothing wrong with accepting these feelings. And it's in contrast, it's the way a true full life is lived, by feeling everything and allowing it to happen to you by, as Russ Harris would put it, allowing negative feelings, thoughts, and emotions come, stay, go, and then leave, or come, stay, and go. And that's where the true life is found, when you can do that.
Yeah, I said this before in a previous episode, but people ask, how do I know if I'm happy? How do I know if I'm emotionally healthy? And a big key for that is that emotionally healthy people feel a wide range of emotions. Mm-hmm. They feel it all. They feel sad. They feel angry. They feel happy. They feel depressed. They feel pissed. All these different emotions, that's how you know that you are healthy, in a sense. Just because you're feeling angry one day doesn't mean you're not emotionally healthy. It doesn't mean you have issues. That means, no, that's a good sign that you are healthy and you are doing the right things because you're feeling this wide array of the emotions. You're feeling it all.
Yeah, and from like a truly philosophical standpoint, the world would be nothingness if it wasn't for opposites. There would be no such thing as night if there wasn't any such thing as day, and then vice versa.
Right.
There wouldn't be any such thing as happy.
Wouldn't be life.
Yeah, like you have to have opposites to be able to live, and so, or to even have an earth. Like we need like, I think it's Newton's third law. Like every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
One of Newton's laws.
One of Newton's laws, and it's quite philosophical from a mental health perspective, because everything has an opposite. And so if you want to live, if you truly want to live, it doesn't mean just being happy. We've heard this throughout the song of keeping your bliss, keep your sunny days, keep your pills. The message they're trying to get across is that feeling it all is the way to live a full and not happy, but meaningful life.
Yeah.
So I think we have one more snippet, and we're going to go from there. So let's listen to it.
Here we go.
Keep your pills, save your breath, and don't ever forget. Get out of our way, we're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet. listen for a song in the distance.
Okay. Well, we heard some more repetitive lyrics there. We heard the keep your pills, save your breath again. Don't ever forget all that. But we heard a part that I really love. It slows down there. You kind of heard that with the piano. Everything fades away. It's just piano, and he says, when times aren't the best and I'm on the edge, I'll listen for a song in the distance. I love that a lot because it kind of ties everything together with, like, especially with acceptance and commitment therapy. When the lead singer, his name is Tyler, when things aren't going well for him and he feels like he's anxious, and he's been very open about his mental health struggles. He's been suicidal in his life multiple times. He's depressed a lot. He's very anxious, and he feels like he has two different personalities with his, like, viewpoints, like all types of mental struggles. And when he feels that way, he turns towards his values, which is music. He listens for a song in the distance. And for him, he talks about in multiple interviews that music and songwriting and just music in general, I guess, listening to it is his outlet. It is not his outlet. It's everything to him. It's his value. It's his most important value. And so to chime on acceptance and commitment therapy again, when you yourself are struggling, when you're on the edge or you're struggling, or when times aren't the best, like it says in this song, listen to your song in the distance. Turn towards your song in the distance. What is that for you? Is it fitness? Is it intellect? Is it connection? Is it creation, like creativity? What is that for you? And by doing so, you can reconnect with yourself, keep sidewalk under your feet, and move sideways again towards a meaningful, rich life full of all the range of emotions. It's the way to anchor back to the things that are most important to your life. By turning to your values, you can avoid getting into the negative feedback loops, the ruminations of how bad your life is or how hard things are, simply by just turning to your values and staying present.
Yeah, I love that. And to summarize or sum up the whole premise of the song, for me anyway, I think it's just all about moving. Doesn't matter if it's honestly backwards, forwards, sideways. It's all about just moving. Keep on going. Keep moving with that sidewalk underneath your feet. And it's okay to experience the bad, whatever that is for you. It's okay. It's not a bad thing. We've talked about this before as well, where experiencing something like sadness isn't bad. It's not. It's living, and that's okay. And that's what I get out of this song, and I love it. Like, I'm never going to listen to it the same way.
Yeah,
again.
no, that's the first way I listened to it. Like, I've had different interpretations of it since I first listened to it because I've heard it so many times. It's my favorite song they played at their last concert that I went to, for many different reasons, but mainly because of how powerful a message it is. And I couldn't find a better way to break it down, but I think the only thing that I would add on top of that is that you can avoid the tendency to just want to feel good. And that by doing so, you can connect with what life truly is.
Yeah.
And I want to chime again on just not living for the weekend, because that's kind of that's like the best interpretation of always seeking after bliss, is always living for the weekend.
Yeah.
And this song does a good job of, I guess, of just compartmentalizing that and just, like, I'm not dumbing it down, but just by simplifying this complex idea that we tend to obsess over bliss, over happiness, because no one wants to feel bad. No one wants to feel sad, typically.
Right.
And so we think that it's a bad thing to feel that way. But this song is just a good reminder that it's normal, it's healthy, and it can actually be quite helpful for your overall well-being, just accept these emotions and to avoid the tendency to always be seeking after sunny days and blissful highs and just goodness all the time.
Yeah. It's the happiness trap.
Yeah, it really
Russ
is.
Harris.
Yeah, check it out.
There you go. We'll link that book down in the description.
Yeah.
But that's really what it is. It's always chasing happiness. And that's a trap.
The stress that can paradoxically induce, which is the happiness trap. The trap that you get into yourself, that this constant seeking towards happiness is going to cause more stress than just accepting the initial stress in the first place.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what we're going to do now, unless you have anything else more to add.
No, that's everything.
What we're going to do now is just we're going to play the whole song through. and maybe think about it from this new perspective that we've been talking about and apply it to your life. And maybe think of some things that you can do to start walking sideways, keeping sidewalk under your feet, and keep the weak in your life, I guess. So that's what, if I was Tyler Joseph, what I would say in this moment. Look for ways to reject the weekend and stay in the rain. Live during the week. Find ways to stay present despite the negative feelings you get during the times that you don't like very much.
Yeah. Let's live for the weekday. Let's change that paradigm.
Yeah,
How about that?
let's live for the most time in our life, which is the week. We only have 48 hours a week, and that's the weekend. And we live for it. We obsess over it. Anyways,
let's live for the Monday.
Let's live for the Monday. Let's live for the hardest day of the week and start to change the attitude towards it. I like that.
But here's the song in its entirety.
Strings to our hands and feet to rain on your parade. You can have the weekends, we will live between them. Keep your bills, save your breath, and don't ever forget. Get out of our way, we're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet. Ain't no sunny skies till you finally realize that everybody relies on synthetic highs. They find someone to prescribe. Keep your bliss, there's nothing wrong with this. We just wanna feel it all. Keep your pills, save your breath, and don't ever forget. Get out of our way, we're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet. When times aren't the best and I'm on the edge, I'll listen for a song in the distance. Mulberry Street, so good to see you. Mulberry Street, so good to see you. Mulberry Street, so good to see you. Mulberry Street, and don't ever forget. Get out of our way, we're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet. Get out of our way, we're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street, yeah. So move out of our way, we're pushing sideways. Keep sidewalk under your feet. So good to see you. Keep your bliss, there's nothing wrong with this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed it today. I know we had a good time.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
If you've made it this far, if you're still listening to this point, thanks again for listening. We're going to be doing a lot more of these because we really enjoy it. Hopefully you did too. Let us know by leaving a rating, a review, a DM, a comment on Instagram. Let us know if you have any song suggestions too, or
Yeah, I
movie
was about to say, yeah.
suggestions. We'd love to hear it because we have a bunch of ideas of things we want to do, but we want to do what you guys want. So let us know.
Yeah, let us know what songs, movies, shows, politics. We'll try not to get too involved in that, but we'll give a therapy perspective on it.
Yeah, we won't take sides, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be very therapy-esque, very third party from
There
a
you go.
therapy perspective.
Yeah,
So,
as a therapist should be.
yeah. Anyway, again, we hope you liked it, and have a great week.
What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy? Yeah. What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy? Yeah. What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy? What about therapy?